Women's Day to all the ladies who have taken out time from their busy schedules to attend this exclusive webinar, Financial Independence for Her. When it comes to investment, it is believed that majority of men take investment decisions in the household, while that's not true. As per a survey conducted last year, November, by Outlook, it was revealed that more women are actively saving than men, and more women have mutual fund investments than men. Also, gender wise, women are more aggressive when it comes to retirement, and with 60% women saving towards retirement compared to 52% men. In fact, we can see women at the top position in the corporates globally, as well as the governments contributing to the economy's growth and make difference in lives of billions. Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, an example, who is the finance minister of India, presented 5 union budgets after having charge of Ministry of Defense for 2 years. Likewise, there are women who are running big corporates and contributing towards the financial well-being of the society at large. And one of such is with us today, a most dynamic women and inspiring personality is Ms. Radhika Gupta, who is MD and CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund and Vice Chairman MFI, which is managing 1 lakh crores of AUM. And I would congratulate Edelweiss Mutual Fund team that beautifully they have crossed such a benchmark and miles to go. Radhika, who has more than 15 years of global asset management experience, she started her career with global giant McKinsey and AQR Capital and then moved to India to start Forefront Capital Management, India's first registered domestic hedge fund. She joined Edelweiss Group after the acquisition of Forefront, scaling up the hedge fund business and also leading two asset management acquisitions, JP Morgan and Ambit Capital. She became the CEO of the mutual fund business in 2017 and is now building Edelweiss AMC into a bold, solution-oriented, and customer-obsessed asset manager. Radhika grew up like four continents as a keen storyteller known for The Girl with a Broken Neck, her personal story that crossed 2 lakh YouTube views. And she graduated from the Management and Technology program at the University of Pennsylvania with the highest honors and joint degree in economics from the Wharton School and computer science engineering from the Moore School. Radhika currently serves on the board of AMFI and Young President Organization Mumbai. She has been named by Economic Times as 40 under 40 by Business Today and Fortune as one of the most powerful women in business and as top voice for LinkedIn. Without taking much time, I would like Radhika to share her thoughts about the financial well-being and why we call it as a financial independence for her, and what exactly basic simply investors should look after in terms of investing in mutual funds. Over to you, Radhika. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohit, and the entire team of Bajaj Finance. And good morning to all the viewers who've logged in. I also want to take the opportunity to wish you twin wins. One is a very happy Holi, and secondly, a very happy International Women's Day that fell yesterday. Perhaps Holi and Women's Day this time fell on the same day of the year. Because women truly bring uniqueness and color and joy into everyone's lives. Now, I understand I'm talking to an audience of men and women today, but I had two plans. I wanted to talk about investing at large because I don't believe there is good investment behavior for men and women. I think good investment behavior is good investment behavior. But I just wanted to take a few moments, especially since that we are having this conversation on the back of International Women's Day, um, you know, to address all the ladies and the men on a very important topic. And that is the importance of having the women in your family contribute and be part of the financial decision making process. And I'm so glad at Bajaj Finance you chose to have this webinar not in a woman only format, but in a mixed format, because as you know, if you look at a family's goals are mixed, and both men and women play an equal part in the financial planning process. Very often, and I come from that background where my mother, while being highly educated, was not at all involved in finances because शी बिलीव्ड ये बहुत टेक्निकल है, ये बहुत मुश्किल है, ये मेरे से होगा नहीं. And that story we hear from lakhs and crores of women as we talk around. And all I want to tell you is that you have all the ability to do it. Our mothers and grandmothers have managed money for generations as the CFO of their homes, and believe me, they've done an extraordinary job. managing the house in limited budgets, and taking care of all of us. And they haven't had to make a song and dance and issue a press release and say, I'm the next generation's Warren Buffett. They have just done it. So women have all the skills to save. They have all the orientation towards goals. They know about risks and what is right for the family and what is not right for the family. They have the courage to make bold decisions. So financial planning and managing money is not about sitting and picking stocks and reading reports. It's about understanding what's good for you, what goals you have, and of course saving that goes into investing. And I just want to say that, ladies, if you're listening to this, you have all the ingredients to do this. And gentlemen, if you're listening to this, make your wife a partner in the process. And I think your financial planner and financial advisor can really help you in that. When you're having reviews, make sure that they are joint reviews. Make sure that you make set goals together as a family. And if the lady of the family is getting involved in the process, you know, don't mind if she asks silly questions. If she doesn't know, let her join the process and become part of it. The little I am today is a function of the fact that when I was just graduated from college and I was 21, I started earning. And, my mother always sort of insisted on this whole financial independence. And because I started earning early and times were good then, I could save up some money and finally start a business that became Forefront Capital. It enabled me to come back to India, sell the business to Edelweiss, become CEO of this company. Everything that followed was the result of a mother telling me to have financial independence. So, financial independence can enable your dreams as a woman, but having a financially literate woman in the house can also positively influence the next generation of women and children. So I just wanted to start with that. And now I think, as I project the slides, let me sort of move to the topic of the day. And Mohit, you'll tell me if you can see the slides, which is, investing behavior. And I think so much of investing is about investing behavior. I think a very important topic of the day. And that is both the India opportunity and volatility. For many investors, 2021 and 2022, in that sense, were very easy years in the markets. Markets were almost one way. But the last year, I think last 2022 and 2023, what we've seen for it so far has been very volatile. So many investors are coming and asking questions about how do they handle this volatility. And that's what I want to, sort of talk about over the next 15-20 minutes. You know, and I want to start by doing a historical experiment from India's past. And this might be interesting to you. And as I talk through these data points, I want you to think of yourself as a young boy or girl who had entered the capital markets and was seeing these events unfold in India.
Yeah.
So in 1989, VP Singh, who was then Prime Minister, came on TV and said the coffers are empty. In 1990, we had the Gulf War, Mandal Commission, and the Chandrasekhar government in power. In 1991, Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. In 1992, you had the Babri Masjid balance of payments crisis and the 50% depreciation in the rupee. In 1993, you had the Bombay bomb blast, and in 1994, you had a no confidence motion in Parliament.
Yeah.
Now, chances are, if you were this young person seeing India through this lens, you would have said this country is chaos, yahan ka kuch nahi ho sakta. But if you look at the Sensex through that period, it actually went from 1500 to 4,500. And
True.
what I want to tell you is that in a growing economy like India, there is always chaos around you. Now, this is a story, what I told you was a story of India chaos. There is global chaos also, but markets move despite that. So equities compensate you for that extra return because you live with all this chaos. And as I said, in a growing country like India, chaos is high. The good news, though, is that as an asset class, equity finally does better than any other asset class in the long run. It helps you participate. We all read about the economic growth of so many businesses in India, so many industries that are getting created. And you're not buying mutual funds or a stock. You are part owners in a business without running one.
Yeah.
And it offers, I think, something that people don't give us enough credit for: significantly better liquidity compared to other asset classes. The problem, of course, is, and since 1990, of course, equity has compounded at 13% versus a traditional instrument has given you 8%. And I'm not even talking about the importance of taxation, where equities score completely compared to debt. The
Hmm.
bad part, of course, of this, and sometimes we don't talk about bad news early enough, is that equities can be extremely volatile. There are years of 50% down. There are bad companies and negative news that you hear in the media. And there can be 3 to 5 years of negative returns. And if you look at the data at the bottom, there are years when equity is in the red. And
Hmm.
sometimes when people talk about 22 and 23 and say कुछ नहीं हुआ market का कुछ नहीं हुआ, I tell them इससे तो बहुत बुरा हो सकता है. But this comes with the territory. And I think a great quote to remember about equity investing is that you have to love equity at the worst, because then you will experience equity at the best. So originally the quotes from Marilyn Monroe. But truly, you have to understand and love and go through equity markets at their worst, and sometimes even grab those opportunities to really experience the best of what equities can give you. Um, and over the next 10 odd minutes, I want to now talk about 5 concrete ways that we can handle equity market volatility. The first is something called emotional control. And one of the things that happens in a bull market is everyone sort of becomes a stock picker, and everyone just thinks they're very good, and emotions get the better of you. So this is a story of one of the world's smartest men, and his name is Isaac Newton. Everybody knows him for his contribution to physics, but this is his tryst with the equity market. So Newton bought stock of a company called South Sea. Newton bought shares of South Sea company at a price of 180. The stock went and doubled to 360 when he exited the stock. Now, after this, the stock had doubled and his friends started buying positions in the stock. Often when our friends start doing something and they make a lot of money, they got rich, his friends got rich, the stock price moved up, went to 500, 600, etc., etc. We have this thing called FOMO. मुझे भी करना है. So Isaac Newton re-entered the stock at a price of 680. So invested at 180, exited at 360, re-entered at 680. The stock went to 1050 and he got very excited. Finally, uh, the stock went to 175 and collapsed. Newton, of course, lost a lot of money, and he ended up making a statement that I can understand the madness of science, but I don't understand the stock markets. And this, by the way, was one of the smartest people on earth. So, equity markets and emotional volatility can be tough for the smartest of us. When we're going through years like this, and this is some old data, the one point I do want to make to you is that years that are bad for the markets can actually be very good for future returns. So this is different calendar years for the markets, and I'm hoping you can see the slides, but if you can't, then I'll read the data. In 2008, the equity market was down 50%. But if you're invested then, your calendar year or your annualized returns were upward of 12%. In 2007, however, the market was up 55%. If you had invested then, your annual returns are 8.5%. Bad periods are actually very good for investors. There's a great example from mid 2020 when the markets were down 30% in March 2020. If you had invested then, actually you would have made very lucrative returns. So the equity market is actually about being unemotional and taking advantage of bad times. The second point I want to talk about is market timing, and the importance of not timing the market. Now, one of the questions I always get in this profession is market का क्या लगता है और कब invest करें? And truly, most people don't have a great answer to this question. A lot of people will tell me, say the Nifty is at 18,000. What if, ma'am, the Nifty goes to 12,000? I know it's going to go to 12. Should I sell everything today and buy at 12,000? Now, one, if you know it's going from 18 to 12, you should not be asking me because I don't know that. Secondly, at 12, when the news is negative and they say India ka kuch nahi hoga, X billion dollars of market cap have been wiped out, will you have the courage to invest? And my point is, don't spend too much time trying to time the market. Up kare, kab kare, this, that. Constantly invest at every point in time, use rules. And I think one of the great things the mutual fund industry does is it gives you a lot of rules. So through things like SIP, which allow you to, or STP, which allow you to enter markets without thinking about market timing, or SWP, which allows you to exit markets without thinking about market timing, you can actually automate a lot of life. And I just want to show you one data point that I think is very interesting, which is the power of just sitting and quietly doing SIPs. And this is something when people ask me how I manage my money, the real answer is I'm a salaried person. I do monthly SIPs. Now, the blue line here is the average 10-year return if you were to invest in an
Radhika,
SIP.
slide is not
Can't see?
moving. If you can exit the full
Sorry.
screen and then move the slide.
Yeah. Okay. So the blue line here, I assume you can see it now, is the return if you were to invest in an average 10-year SIP. The gray line is the return if you were to invest in just the markets. And there are different market scenarios. The left is if markets delivered 0 to 8% on average, then 8 to 12, then 12 to 15, then more than 15. You know what's really interesting here? Even in the 0 to 8% scenario, where markets have returned not very much, 5%, your 10-year SIP return is still 9% better than a traditional instrument. So there is great power, in my view, to doing simple things and getting rid of this thought about how to time the market. The third thing I want to talk about is actually extremely topical, and it is about basics. अब क्या हो गया है, ऐसा माहौल आ गया है that there are new and exciting themes that keep coming out in the markets. Sometimes there's future of transportation, sometimes there's something very exotic like China tech. There's so many exotic themes, and customers often go to people like Mohit and to planners and say, give me something very complicated, kuch naya dikhao, etc. And I want to do a historical study about popular themes and investing in them. Now, I won't take the last 4 or 5 years. I'll go back in history and just talk about some of the most popular themes that existed. And here they are. So in 2007, infrastructure funds were the big popular theme. There was a big thing about infra. 2008, debt funds were the big theme in the market because we were going through a correction. You had a gold phase. You had a phase in 2012 and 13 called a defensive phase, pharma and FMCG. Then you had Achhe Din Aa Gaye Hain, you had a mid cap and small cap phase, and then again you had a pharma phase. Now, if you had invested in all these popular themes at the right time, your return on average, I think, would have been 9%. If you had just invested in the Nifty TRI, which is a basic passive index, you probably would have earned 10.5 to 11%. So, in a country like India, where basic diversified funds, Nifty, mid cap, these give you meaningful returns 11, 12, 13%. You don't need to scratch your head and say, I need to find the next winner. Investing truly has to be like dal chawal. 80% of your portfolio has to be home food, simple products. 20% everyone goes out to eat. That's always welcome. But if 80% becomes outside food, we all have indigestion.
Sure.
And incidentally, there's a very interesting study that Fidelity did on which customers of theirs made the best returns. And it was actually the dead accounts. It was people who forgot their investments and just let them do their work that made the maximum returns. The fourth example I'm going to talk to you about is, speaking of dead accounts, is about the importance of time. I'm going to use a strange analogy, and I'm going to use the analogy of whiskey. And Mohit is going to tell me, why are you using an analogy of whiskey on a Thursday morning? But we can always have fun. It's one day after Holi. So I went to Scotland. and I looked at the single malt mixing process. And one of the things that people tell you at these distilleries is that actually the process of making single malt whiskey, which is one of the finest in the world, is a very simple process. I mean, the mixing of the liquid and all of that churning vagara happens in 15-20 days. It's not a long thing. After that, if I were to ask you what whiskey does, well, it sits in a cask. It just sits there and it sits there and it sits there, and it endures different conditions and it endures different seasons and it ages. And this is what the aging of whiskey actually looks like. So, this is what it looks like at 0 years, then 3 years, then 10 years, and 12 years. And one of the interesting things a distiller told me is that till whiskey stays in a cask and it doesn't complete 3 years, it's not even legally allowed to be called whiskey because it just
Yeah.
hasn't have enough age. And I think the same analogy is true of equities. Till you have given it a certain amount of time, you don't even classify as an equity investor because you haven't given the market enough time. Now, what does whiskey have to do with money? I'm going to give you another simple analogy. I looked at the price of single malts of different ages. Okay. So this is the price of single malts from the same distillery. Now, a 12-year-old single malt costs about 40 pounds. An 18-year-old single malt, so I've increased the age by 15%, actually doesn't cost 50% more. It costs 80 pounds, so double. Okay.
Yeah.
A 23-year-old single malt, so I've increased the age by 25% from 18, but the price has gone from 80 to 400. It's
Five
gone up 5
times.
times. And a 25-year-old single malt, I've just added 10% to the age, has gone from 400 to 2000. This is the magic of compounding in whiskey. Now, in case you were thinking of redeeming all your equity funds and planting them into whiskey, here is the data for the Nifty. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and 30 years. The story is the same. As I said, one trend in two different friends. Give your investments time. The one request I have, if you're investing today, give your investments time and let the magic of compounding play out. The
Absolutely.
last point I want to make is about the misconception that equity investing is only binary. That या तो आप FD में रहते हो या आप equity में रहते हो. And I think one of the things as investors, and I am this kind of investor, that we forget is that protecting downside is extremely important. Now, everyone knows this basic math that we learned in school, that if your money goes from 100 and you lose 20% and it goes to 80, to go from 80 to 100, you actually need to make 25%. But if your money goes from 100 to 50 and you lose 50%, you actually need 100% to break even. And sometimes for people, that downside protection is extremely important. 25% is a loss that lets you stay in the market. 100% is a loss that sometimes, 100% sometimes is too big a number for you to quit. And often we think by taking big risks, we do things that are glamorous, but sometimes by taking median risks, you can get better outcomes. I'm going to give you another funny analogy, and this is from the film industry. I have a dear friend in the film industry who's a producer, and he says that when we look, and this is some of the bigger budget films on the screen of a particular year and the cost in rupees to make them. And he says, when we think of films, we think big budget films are the high return films. But here, this is the budget of some films. And look at something very interesting in this data. If you look at the big budget films that have succeeded, they have made money. So Sanju was an 80 crore film, 300% ROI. There was some other, Simba was 80 crore film, 200% ROI. But they are smaller budget films that took less risk and actually made better return on investment. And I think that's true. And today in the fund industry, we have lots of products, either asset allocation or asset allocation products, hybrid products that allow you actually to have less volatility and earn the same kind of return. So I've just shown you one example of a balanced product, over 3 years that delivers a return that is very similar to the Nifty over 5 years, but the cuts and the volatility are half. So equity doesn't mean that you go from equity to being from FD straight to being
Hmm.
in equity. It's just like when you go swimming, you don't go from not knowing how to swim into diving into the deep pool. You go to the baby pool, then the shallow end. So there are lots of baby pools and shallow ends that you can experiment with as you think about your equity journey. This is especially true, by the way, for our women audience who sometimes is conservative, and I found with hybrid products they feel a lot more comfortable. So I'm going to wrap up last year here and just summarize emotional control. Some of you, I hope, will take away my Isaac Newton story. The importance of not timing the market and using instruments like SIP, the importance of remembering basics and dal chawal, and the importance of time. Hopefully nobody will forget whiskey. And finally, the fact that you don't have to be all in. I think if you do some of these things, your equity journey, will be a lot easier, and you'll genuinely benefit from all that equity has to offer. Mohit, I'm going to stop right here and maybe
Sure.
open for questions.
Thank you so much, Radhika. Thank you for the valuable feedback. And that's the beauty of all your webinars, whatever we have attended, that you connect with the person's life and people can definitely connect. And as you rightly said, the few of the philosophies like invest and forget. So that is something I also believe personally. I started investing in year 2000. Almost that time, first like Union Bank of India share came, and that was my first investment. And within the span of couple of months, I multifold the amount, but slowly and gradually I saw the dip as well. But I remain invested, and I thought that yes, that should give me some kind of wealth creation in long run. And that is how the habit of investment created. And now I am sitting on my 80% of equity exposure, which is majorly
Very
mutual
good.
funds. And that is the beauty I can see. And I always teach people, and I always guide people that yes, you have to invest and forget, but you have to create a habit. Even if you are a fresher and you're just starting a job with a new joinee or a intern, minimum 1,000 rupees of SIP per month, even if you start, it brings a habit to you. Just like a piggy bank habit we used to
Very
have in our
powerful.
childhood.
Actually, SIP is not a product, it's about creating a habit. And it doesn't
Exactly.
matter how small the habit is.
Yes, yes. So once you create the habit, just our parents used to do when we used to have a piggy bank, and they used to give a penny of rupee. So at the end of the month, we used to just shake the piggy bank and saw that yes, we have collected so many coins. So that holds true in the current scenario as far as SIP is concerned. So
Yeah.
great, great. Thank you so much, Radhika. We have a question that for a first-time investor, right? For a first-time investor, what is the message you want to give, that what should be the strategy in selection of funds or in selection of SIP or amount of investment?
So I think for a first time investor, I want to, before giving advice on funds, reiterate the importance of starting. Um, and the importance of starting slowly. I think, you have to take baby steps, because what happens sometimes with first time investors is they get very excited, there's FOMO, they see what their friends are doing, they feel
Hmm.
like, oh, I can't do the basics, and they dive into something, they lose money, unfortunately, and then they never become an investor again, and that's the biggest tragedy. So in this fast paced complicated world, don't be afraid to do something simple, is my number one advice to a first time investor. And don't let anyone tell you you don't know, you're too slow, etc. It's fine, it's hard earned money. I think in terms of products, choose very simple products. You can choose a basic active equity fund like a flexi cap or large and mid cap fund, or you can choose a basic index fund like a large and mid cap index fund or an index. Basically, as a first time investor, what do you want to do? You want to capture a large part of India's economic growth. Now, you don't want to peel the onion too much and over, you just want to broadly capture growth. And second, you want to understand your own risk appetite. So you want to see equity market rise and fall and understand how much can I do. Once you start doing those SIPs, you will experience market corrections. Maybe you'll say, oh, 100% equity is not for me, maybe I need to be a balanced investor, right? That also, by the way, is a balanced advantage fund or a aggressive hybrid fund. These are great products for first time investors, so that you don't go wrong.
Great, great. Normally, people ask me one of the questions, that how much amount of the income they should start investing in mutual funds.
Ah,
So,
See, I see why people ask that question, Mohit. The real answer is, the amount doesn't matter, as you just said. Even if you start with 1,000 or 2,000 rupees a month, the habit is very important. I think that I can't, of course, as you grow, that amount has to increase. So if you're earning a 50,000 rupee salary, probably saving 1,000 or 2,000 rupees a month is not a very wise idea. But in the
True.
early days, I think just getting started, one of the things that you can do if you start SIPs that I do is, our income grows at a certain percentage a year. I automatically top up my SIPs by that amount. So I also grow my monthly SIP by the amount my income grows. And that's just a nice habit to have.
True.
What I say to people is take your income, take your post tax income, because we all have to pay tax, and have a target for post tax saving. You can start at 10%, take it up to 20, 30, 40%, whatever feels comfortable. Try to do the saving again via SIP, because SIP can't be postponed. It's like tax, it almost has to be done. That's the great thing about SIP. So try to do it via SIP and you'll be on target. And then everything else will be left to spend. So there's tax, there's investment, and then there's spending. It's not the reverse.
Right, right. In fact, I would say whenever we see our PF account accumulation for the people, especially who
Yes.
have completed 15, 20 years, they can actually see the real magic that they didn't notice that this much amount is getting deducted from your account, but still you have managed to accumulate millions of rupees, which is good enough for
I
your.
kind of, Mohit, I have to say, I was one of those dead investors in my PF account because I forgot
Yeah,
the login and password for many, many
yeah,
years. अभी कुछ
sure.
restructuring करना है. So for the first time since I moved to India, I opened my PF account and I was like, इतना पैसा है मेरे पास.
So that's
इतना
the
फिर
beauty,
इतना
in fact, I would say. So
login.
invest and forget,
हाँ,
this is the best practice. And people who can
correct.
just
Login भी नहीं किया.
have your SIPs planned in a way that yes, it gets deducted the moment your income comes, and you have a planned kind of investment philosophy, then definitely it will give you wonders to you, and you will get shocked
Yeah,
at how your goals are achieved. One thing I would like to add with Radhika's message, that yes, SIP is important, but in a family of like maybe several members, everyone has different kind of goals, right? So always
yes.
try to link a SIP with a respective goal, because that brings more discipline to your investment. Otherwise, what happens when we start investing without a focused approach, at the time of emergency we randomly switch on or like redeem the investments, and we don't plan that yes, what exactly I wanted to do with that particular investment. So if you have a planned investment that yes, this particular SIP is for my 3 year goal, 5 year goal, or 10 or 15-year goal,
Mhm.
so in case of emergency, you can make a wise decision that yes, which investment you need to redeem or stop, so that your respective goal is not impacted. Yeah. And one of my favorite examples, I Radhika always mention the example which you gave also, the roti, rice and dal and rice example. So we cannot be dependent on same food all the time, right? We always need
Correct.
to have variety in breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So similarly, there are different asset classes everyone requires. Not only FD, not only PF, not only stocks, or not only mutual funds, but
Absolutely. And
a
on actually in a
discipline.
single meal,
Yeah.
हाँ, आदमी सिर्फ दाल थोड़ी खाता है लंच में, आदमी दाल भी
Right.
खाता है, रोटी भी खाता है, सब्जी भी खाता है,
Yes.
तो बैलेंस
So,
डाइट तो होती है.
balanced diet. So that is how plays an important role of balance advantage funds, which we have clearly mentioned for those who want to have a ready-made meal instead of planning the separate meals for all the three dinner times, lunch time. So great, great. Thank you so much, Radhika. One last question, I would say, you have mentioned about SIP, STP, and SWP, right? For the next 6 months or so, do you have any broader market outlook? What a investors should do for the people who are like matured investors and holding on the money? Do you suggest them to review their portfolios or to make some kind of decision based on the market scenario? Anything from you?
So, I mean, rarely does one give 6 months sort of advice, but I think this year, as far as market outlook, is not going to be the easiest one. In
Hmm.
fact, our theme is slightly recessionary or tricky conditions before returns come. So, I
Yeah.
think it is an accumulation phase for equities, whether you are an existing investor or a new investor. If you come in, don't expect miracles in a year. You're not coming into such cheap equity markets. Um, but if you are, we are very constructive on Indian economy, especially the domestic economy over the next 3 to 5 years. So if you do
Hmm.
come in and have that discipline of that long term whiskey 3 year example plus, then I
Yes.
think you will make money. But this is an accumulation phase, so you can invest via STPs. You don't have to be in a rush. I mean, you should never be in a rush in investing, but this is that kind of market.
Sure, certainly. Thank you so much, Radhika. With this, we are done with the questions, and it's always pleasure to hear you. And welcome again, since it's the first such webinar session we conducted with Edelweiss, and you as a speaker in Bajaj Finance Limited, who is also aiming to provide a ready-made instant solution to our investors by launching a mobile app as well as web version. Plus, we have a ground team for assistance to the investors so that they can invest. And that is what we would suggest people to explore the funds. There are NFO sections. You can import your external portfolio, you can do the transactions. And yes, we have a dedicated team who can help you to answer all your queries. And we will keep bringing such kind of valuable sessions, of course, with our favorite Radhika, with her own uh, thoughts and various advisory, I would say, for the uh, people in large. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Radhika, and thank Edelweiss team for this particular webinar session.